Okay guys, thanks for coming tonight. Last night was the start of Runners Week, okay? And the talk tonight is really about what we've got new in 2017. Okay, we had an amazing year last year, and it was mostly due to starting with a beginner's week every 14 weeks. Effectively, we had a 14-week cycle where we'd have a beginner's week, and then we'd have a time trial week, and then we'd go into a 12-week program. Now, our beginners and our runners progressed through that 12-week program, and effectively, almost always, then went on to join a faster group in the next 14-week cycle. Okay, I've changed it around a bit this year. This will be the most noticeable thing. We've now only got a 10-week program. We've got a beginner's week and a runner's week, and then our time trial week, or benchmarks week is maybe a bit of a softer term. Runners week for me, it's all about attracting runners to the club, okay, which has been a really hard thing to do in the past. Runners are often, they're set in their routines, they're either with a club already or else they're running by themselves, and a lot of them perceive themselves to be a lot slower than what they actually are. Sometimes they just can't come to the club runs because it's not the right time of the week for them. But I want to make Runners Week the equivalent of what Beginners Week was and continues to be. And so the workshops we do in Runners Week will be very much about improving running ability, not so much the beginner focus. We couldn't have started it any better this year. We have a double Olympic gold medalist, James Cracknell, OBE, coming to talk to us on Thursday night. So this time on Thursday we'll have him along. I've actually just been on the phone and we've secured an interview with Radio Gloucestershire on Thursday afternoon with James. So a bit of press for the club, which is always nice. So yeah, it's a 10-week program as opposed to a 12-week program. It means that it's going to be slightly more challenging. There will be, it will help those people who are attending regularly, and it will make it harder for those that don't get in their 2 or 3 runs a week, ideally 3 runs a week. And obviously those runs don't all need to be with the club, but ideally they are following a plan, very similar to ours, if not a Couch to 5K plan, then our progressive running program. Something we've done a lot of in the past, but not really in a very structured way, has been technique coaching. Okay, so in the past it's all been me taking a group of generally between sort of 10 and 16 people for a technique session on a Tuesday before we do our intervals. But this year the club's really grown a lot. Through summer we've had 40 plus people come along to trainings, so it's practically impossible for me to offer any personalised coaching in those sessions. I mean, I can tell everyone to do a drill, but trying to get such a varied ability, all doing the same drills without the beginners or the less fit people getting struggling with the intensity of it, or without having the faster, fitter guys finding it's just too easy. Setting that up by myself is quite tough. So in 2017, this is the most ambitious thing that we'll be doing for me personally, will be to try and educate certain people to actually become coaches within the club, or assistant coaches. So that come summer, when the days are longer, we'll be outdoors and we'll effectively be breaking into groups, and we'll have an assistant coach with 3 to 5 different groups of manageable numbers, say 8 to 10 to 12 people in a group, and that group's focus will be on a certain part of running technique. Okay, so it could be the most basic being just working on their posture. Okay, so for example, you'll each have your phone and video one another running up and down a stretch, and you'll assess your own and each other's posture while running. In order for that to work, effectively I'm going to be looking for people to put their hand up to learn how to coach. Now I can foster that to a certain extent. There are also Run England leadership courses, coaching courses that people can do, which will certainly formalise things. But effectively, in the next few weeks I'll be asking people to put their hand up to become coaches. And I guess a motivation for this is that if you want to learn to do anything well, what's the best thing you can do in order to learn to do that thing well? It's to teach other people to do it well, right? In order for you to feel confident to teach it, you've got to really invest in learning how to do it. Okay, so hopefully we'll get quite a few of you interested in that. And it's hopefully not just the experienced ones. It's more about how much time you can dedicate you to. And we wouldn't ever throw you in the deep end with something that you're not comfortable with. There's been a fair bit of mention about training squads recently. They're obviously also working through our 10-week program, but they have a copy of the program themselves, and it's personalised for their ability. So if they can't make a club run, then they can follow the session plans in their program in their own time, and it will have speeds which are based on their time trial result. So it doesn't have to be that they fit into a group like the 9s or the 10s or the 6s. If they're running alone, then they can run at the exact optimal speed for their running ability for that particular session that they can't do with the club. So it's effectively helping us to help more people that can't attend as often as they'd like. So other benefits of the training squads, the Facebook groups have been really helpful, really helped to foster motivation and enthusiasm and just inspiration within the group. We've had 2 squads so far now. So one was the Cheltenham Half Marathon squad. Probably about 75% of the people in that squad had not run any half marathons before, and a lot of them had only ever run their first 10K that year, and some of them had even only just got to 5K that year as well. So they were inspired by our fitter members, and our faster members were inspired by them at what they were achieving. And it's great to have them, to finish a run and just to post in the Facebook group, hey, look, just done my run. It was amazing, can't believe it was so much easier than I expected, for example. Or maybe they had a really hard run and they posted, oh God, that was death, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And they'll get a raft of comments saying, hey, come on, get on with it, you'll be all right. And that's also this example of when I would probably pitch in if it was that bad, to actually say, hey, let's have a chat and talk about what's going on, work out why that run was hard. Most of our existing members will realise that if a run was too hard, it's probably because they started too fast. So especially if you've got that sort of information available via a watch or a phone app, we can look at your split times and see how well you paced the run, or maybe you were just running up and down big hills when the speed was based on you running on a flat course, or maybe it was just really hilly, or maybe you were hungover. Looking out for why a run was really tough, and all that. The Facebook group really helps to flag that sort of stuff. It just wouldn't come up unless we had the Facebook group. Last year, the social side of the club also improved a lot. Okay, we started meeting out at the Royal Oak in Prestbury in, sort of May, June, April time, right when it started to warm up and when we had lots of showers. But it just meant that after the club runs, we got back to the pub and would stick around for some food and drinks, and that really set off a social thing with the club. We had, I think it was about 3 or 4 social events. We went out for a meal, and we had the Christmas do. In 2017, we want to take that to an all-new level. We've currently planned 7 set social events, and they'll generally be held at certain times within that 10-week program. So it'll be a few weeks after Beginners Week, so that the beginners feel like they've settled into the club, or else it'll be in preparation for a certain target event. So for example, if the Cheltenham Half Marathon's on, then we'll have an event a few weeks before that. So that sort of brings us on to target events. We will be targeting many more events than we did last year. So last year, Cheltenham Half Marathon, there was the Santa Run, the Mo Run, Cheltenham Challenge. I think that was about it, right? So 4 target events, and obviously some of those, like the Cheltenham Half Marathon, only about 20 people could really target because only 20 people could run that far. So this year the plan is effectively to have a 5K, a 10K and a half marathon distance targeted event every quarter of the year. Okay, so our first 10 weeks will build us up to our Couch to 5K runners doing a 5K event on the 8th of April. Our intermediate runners, I guess you could call them, running a 10K event on the 2nd of April, and a bunch of hardy runners doing the Reading Half Marathon on the 18th, 19th of March. So those will be our first 3 target events, and the goal is really to get as many people along to those as possible. It's just so much more fun going to an event with people, whether you're just driving in the car with them, or you drive up by yourself, but you actually meet up with the others and do a bit of a warm up together, do the event, get a whole bunch of great photos together afterwards, and just to be able to share the experience is just so much more fun than showing up to an event by yourself, not knowing anyone, getting your medal and going home. It's something that I'd love for everyone to effectively be looking towards our target events and actually deciding that you can do it, especially when it's this far out from them, that you can do a target event if you do the training. Okay. So going with our targeted events, we do change our training venues. Okay, so we've been lucky enough to land the Holiday Inn this year for our winter training venue, so it just means we can meet here where it's nice and warm. We can go out for a run, come back, maybe have a drink at the bar. We're not paying for anything with the Holiday Inn. Okay, they're effectively sponsoring us, so you would usually pay good money to have this room tonight, but they're putting it on because it's not booked and because we've got an arrangement with them. The best way we can kind of reward or repay that favour is to get a drink at the bar, or to tell your friends to stay here if they're going to stay in Cheltenham. But obviously it's very obvious to them if their sales improve every Tuesday, Thursday night when we come in for a club run. Now, when at the end of our first 10-week training block, so effectively when the clocks change, so in April, we'll then move our training venues. Tuesdays will be up at the racecourse, so either meeting at the Dragon Vets, which is where we met last year, or us potentially, I'm looking very hard at taking it further in, closer to the railway station at the racecourse, just because it's a bigger open space and there's different inclines available there that we don't really have at the Dragon Vets side, but there'll be email details about that. On Thursdays through spring, from April through to July, we'll be again, I haven't actually confirmed this with them, but the plan is to meet again at the Royal Oak in Prestbury. It was an amazing venue to meet up at. They've got a nice pavilion room out the back, which we can do workshops in, and they put on some really nice food and have some really nice beers. So yeah, I think it was a really good part of the club last year. After that, we'll then move back to the boathouse at Pittville Park, which effectively allows us to, the purpose of meeting at the racecourse and at the Royal Oak is it gives us access to the racecourse. Okay, the racecourse is where the Cheltenham Challenge is being held, so the Cheltenham Challenge will be our next target event after those initial ones that I talked about. Cheltenham Challenge is, I think it's around the 19th of June. They have a 5K, 10K, half marathon and marathon. And it's all pretty much off-road. Okay, so it's really changing us from just road running through winter to mostly off-road running. Okay, and we'll teach you how to run on gravel and uneven surfaces so that you don't roll your ankle and hurt yourself. But those training venues give us good access to the race course. All right, so then after the Cheltenham Challenge, we'll move back down to Pittville Park, which is just a good location for us to meet if we want to use routes for the Cheltenham Half Marathon. Now, by that time, any one of you could be doing the Cheltenham Half Marathon. So we'll also have some 5 and 10K events around that time, but effectively what we want to do is use as much of the Cheltenham half marathon route as possible in training, so that those of us doing the Cheltenham half know the hills, know the different parts of the route, and feel more confident during the race. I'm pretty sure. Well, I've had lots of feedback about that, from the previous half marathon. People saying that it really helps to have already run up New Barn Lane 100 times before we had to take it on in the actual race itself. So we're always, I think Anton actually asked me tonight, what's the biggest challenge for us this year? And it actually really comes down to helping more people to, So effectively the biggest challenge that I see is helping people that want to get fit through running, but who can't come to our club runs. Last year I tried doing like a 6:30 p.m. and a 7 p.m. start. It just didn't work. People have asked for lunchtime sessions. I've surveyed people, members and outside the club to see what interest we could get in lunchtime sessions or morning sessions, but it just hasn't worked. So effectively at this stage we are limited to the 6:30 start. Through the lighter months of the year, the plan at the stage is to actually increase the duration of those trainings, so that we'd do half an hour to start off with warm-up and technique work, and then another hour for those who can stick around for that time to do the actual main set of the training. So whether that's intervals like what we're doing tonight, or whether that's the even pace run that we'll do on Thursdays. So that'll mean that people coming out of work at 6 p.m. okay, they might not arrive for the warm-up and the technique stuff, but they've still got an hour left if they show up at 7 to do a good workout. Okay, so that's one way that we'll try and help more people attend more sessions. The squads also help people that can't come as often. I've already kind of talked about that, and that they'll have their own program so they can do it when they are able. But the biggest thing that I think could really get out there and really help Cheltenham Running Club inspire people, not just in Cheltenham or in Gloucestershire or further afield, is online courses. Okay, so there's a reason that I'm video recording this, and that we record all of our workshops, and that we'll record James Cracknell on Thursday night, and that's because we want video just inspires people. These days we can put a video on Facebook and it can go anywhere in the world, right? So but those videos can also be put into online courses. Okay, so I don't know how many of you have done an online course. I haven't actually done many myself, but effectively putting together online courses with education on how to run further, how to run faster, how to not get injured, how to treat this particular injury. Online courses can be used by people anywhere, and we can deliver our program to them, and they can be in the Facebook groups that we have set up, so they can be a part of it even if they can't attend actual runs or social events, but they can obviously come to events around the country. I mean, we're going to Swindon, we went to Bristol. They can still come and see us at running events around the country if they're prepared to travel for one-off events. So that's basically an overview of what we're looking ahead at in 2017. Just reminded me we have one more thing that is new in 2017, and that is my wife's we call it a group weight loss program. Okay, so I know it sounds very generic the way I've just said it then. We have actually got a name for it. It's called the Zest for Life program. Effectively, last year, I mentioned to her that we get a lot of people who mention weight loss as being a motivation for running, and as most of us know, running is very good for that, but nutrition is far more important. It plays a far bigger role. So having a weight loss program which we endorse and it can actually work together with our members on is really another step towards helping more of our members to achieve their long-term goals. Okay, so there'll be more information on that. There's a diet trial starting next week, and then that'll then become a paid program, which is still very good value. There's a lot of social support on there. There'll be a Facebook group, there's weekly meetings, they're 2-hour meetings, and effectively it's just helping people not just learn how to eat well, but how to become accountable to the others in their group. And in terms of the program content itself, it's very much healthy based. There's no cutting out all sorts, carbs or cutting out protein or anything like that. It's very much based around improving your blood sugar balance to effectively make your body work better with its metabolism. Thank you very much for coming, and we'll get out for our run.